The war has intensified across West Asia a day after U.S. President Donald Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave open-ended responses about how long this conflict could continue. Explosions struck multiple cities at the U.S.-Israeli air campaign against Iran and counterattacks by Tehran and its allied groups. Entered its fourth day, this entire conflict, remember, blasts were reported in Tehran, Riyadh, Beirut, central Israel, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, among other parts of the West Asian region, underscoring the widening scope of the confrontation in Tehran. The Israeli military stated that it carried out airstrikes targeting key government sites in Tehran, including the presidential office and the building that houses Iran's Supreme National Security Council. The United States military separately claimed that it had destroyed the Tehran headquarters of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
The Air Force planes, under precise guidance from the Intelligence Directorate, attacked the Iranian leadership complex in the heart of Tehran, the most important and central headquarters of the regime.
Israel said around 100 fighter jets dropped more than 250 munitions on what it described as Iran's leadership complex. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, the targets included administrative buildings, security council facilities, and a military training institution. And just a short while back, the IDF has announced the launch of its 9th wave of strikes in Tehran. The Israeli Air Force said has begun a broad wave of strikes targeting infrastructure of the Iranian regime in Tehran. Fresh explosions could be heard in Iran's capital as well as in the city of Karj, which is located 35 kilometers from Tehran. While Israel and United States launched strikes on the building of the body to elect the new Iranian supreme leader in Qom, visuals on your screen show the damage. Israel also said that ballistic missile production sites were hit across Iran. Thick smoke rose and it could be seen rising over several parts of Tehran. Amid damaged buildings and debris, additional explosions were reported in the Iranian cities of Isfahan and Shiraz as well. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps warned that they would escalate their response against both the United States and Israel.
The enemy must await continuous punitive attacks. The gates of hell will open more and more, moment by moment, upon the United States and Israel.
Donald Trump said that Tehran had expressed interest in talks but indicated that Washington would continue its operations. In a Truth Social post, Trump wrote, and I quote, "Their air defense, Air Force, Navy and leadership is gone. They want to talk. I said, too late." Israeli forces continued strikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon on Tuesday. Explosions were heard in Beirut's southern suburbs as well. Israeli armored vehicles, including tanks, could be seen entering Lebanon from Israel. The Israeli military said that it targeted a senior Hezbollah official but did not release further details. Lebanese authorities reported at least 52 fatalities and 154 injuries since hostilities intensified. Iran and its allies also launched retaliatory action against U.S. and America as well as across the Gulf region. The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh came under a reported drone attack. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry condemned this incident, calling it heinous and unjustified, while Qatar stated that it intercepted missiles aimed at the Hamad International Airport.
Regarding the airport, I confirm that there were attempts to attack Hamad International Airport. They were all thwarted, thanks God. The missiles were downed by our defensive measures, and none of them have reached the airport.
Now, reports also indicate that drones targeted fuel tanks at Oman's commercial port of Duqm, with at least one strike causing damage. This marks the second reported attack on the port in just the last 3 days. Blasts were also heard in Bahrain's capital, Manama, and Qatar's capital, Doha. In the United Arab Emirates, debris from an intercepted drone reportedly sparked a fire near the Fujairah oil storage terminal, which is home to the largest commercial storage capacity for refined petroleum products in West Asia. Damage could also be seen in a central Israeli residential neighborhood following an Iranian missile barrage. As things stand, the situation in West Asia remains fluid at the moment, with military actions and counterattacks continuing across multiple fronts. American President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have been openly commenting, in fact even boasting, about the death of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Trump has described Khamenei as one of the most evil people in history. He called his death as justice for Iranians, for Americans, and for others around the world. Donald Trump also claimed that Khamenei had tried to have him killed twice. He said, and I quote, "I got him before he got me. They tried twice. Well, I got him first." Prime Minister Netanyahu, on the other hand, confirmed that Khamenei's compound was destroyed. He said that the operation was meant to fundamentally change the region and to stop Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. He described Khamenei's death as a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the people of Iran. But beyond the political rhetoric, Khamenei's assassination has raised a far bigger question. What does this mean for international law? For decades, there has been a strong international norm against assassination. It is rooted in the principles of state sovereignty and the prohibition on the use of force. Under international law, killing a serving state official outside a recognized armed conflict will almost always violate those principles and may also breach international human rights law. That norm has not formally disappeared, and many states still denounce assassination when they are the target. But norms do not vanish overnight. They erode. They erode when violations become more frequent, when justifications become broader, when the international response becomes muted. The assassination of Khamenei on the 28th of February appears to many as a turning point, a moment where assassination is no longer covert or denied, but publicly defended as policy. And this is not without precedent. According to the doctrine of state responsibility, if a country knowingly helps another nation commit a violation of international law, both are considered culpable for the wrongful act. By that logic, the US shares legal responsibility along with Israel to what is happening in West Asia. But history has seen other leaders being removed amid foreign intervention earlier as well. Saddam Hussein, for instance, from Iraq, was ousted after the US-led invasion in 2003, captured by American forces in Operation Red Dawn and later handed over to Iraqi authorities. Saddam Hussein was later tried for crimes against humanity in Iraq, and he was found guilty, executed by hanging in 2006. Then you had Muammar Gaddafi, longtime Libyan leader between 1969 to 2011. He was overthrown in the Libyan civil war after months of evading rebels captured by anti-Gaddafi forces in Sirte in October 2011, following NATO-supported fighting. He was killed shortly after capture. Next comes in Ngo Dinh Diem, the president of South Vietnam from 1955 until 1963. He was overthrown and assassinated on the 2nd of November in 1963 during a military coup. The coup had significant US involvement and backing amid deep political unrest and Buddhist protests over regime discrimination. Hideki Tojo, the Prime Minister of Japan, during much of the World War II, he was arrested after Japan's surrender in 1945. He tried by the International Military Tribunal. He was tried by them for the Far East for war crimes. He was found guilty and executed by hanging on the 23rd of December in 1948. Then in June 2022, Juan Orlando Hernandez of Honduras was arrested by national and US authorities on drug trafficking and corruption charges. He was extradited to United States, convicted and sentenced in 2024. He served as the president of Honduras from 2014 to 22. More recently, it was Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela since 2013. He was captured by American forces during Operation Absolute Resolve, and he was flown to face narcotics-related charges in the U.S. He now sits in a U.S. jail in New York. Each case is different. Each has its own legal and political contexts. But put together, they tell a story about power, about intervention, and about how the fall of a leader, whether by invasion, coup, trial, or assassination, can reshape not just a nation, but the rules that govern the world. Regime change, two words that have been used extensively for Iran since the country's 12-day war with Israel in June last year. 8 months later, on the 28th of February, US and Israel carried out joint strikes on Iran and assassinated its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But now, the tone and outlook appear to have changed. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio sidelined regime change in Iran as the goal of the American strikes on it. The top official from Trump's administration said that it is up to the people of Iran now to overthrow the Islamist regime.
So two things, and two things can be true. Number one is our mission and our focus is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and their ability to manufacture them, as well as the threat posed by their Navy to global shipping. That's our objective. That said, we would not mind, we would not be heartbroken, and we hope that the Iranian people can overthrow this government and establish a new future for that country. We would love for that to be possible. But the objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and of their naval capabilities.
Israeli Prime Minister echoed a similar sentiment. Benjamin Netanyahu, who has previously very strongly advocated for regime change in Iran, has now said that it is on the country's own people to change its government.
Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so.
In fact, even the U.S. president in his Monday address had laid out extensively the military operations undertaken by American forces. But Trump evaded any mention of regime change in Iran and focused his remarks only on claims that nuclear threats and Iran's missile capabilities need to be curbed. The change in tone has triggered several questions now on what the Trump administration's current stance is. With respect to Iran's political landscape, is Washington moving from a regime change objective to regime adjustment? And if so, does that mean that the U.S. president might open negotiation channels once again? Well, for the moment, it seems no is the answer. Minutes ago, the American president shared a post on social media platform Truth Social on Iran. In that post, Trump said that it was now too late for talks with Iranian officials.